all. Thanks for your time. We'll start with your injury situation. Any knocks at all for the weekend?
No, I think we're all good in terms of what is expected. So looking forward to a long trip, but what should be a very tough but good game.
Any update on Lenny at all?
He's had his scan. It's not too bad. I would imagine probably 3-4 weeks from when he first did it. But I know at the minute he's saying he's feeling good. I think seems to be in a good place with it all. So hopefully, he won't be rushed. But if we did get to a point where he's feeling good to go, then we'll have a look at that. And any sooner would be a bonus.
Okay. Sean Scannell and Joel Grant, any update on them at all?
No, Joel's still sort of struggling with it. He's going to go to St George's Park next week. And then we're hoping when he gets back from there that there'll be a bit of progress, fingers crossed, in terms of getting back out, not training but back out on the grass, stepping his rehab up. And scans pretty much as we were, to be honest. If we'd had another day of training tomorrow, he could have probably joined in part of it, but we'll leave that until Monday with us travelling down to Torquay.
We haven't seen much of Evan Corey this season.
No.
I think he had a knock in pre-season, didn't he? What's kind of latest with him?
Unfortunately, it was a bit more than a knock, James. It was an ankle injury where he, no one near him, to be honest. So that's definitely one that we can't put down to anything other than a bit of bad luck. And as a result, I think the only sort of game time he'd had was Cleethorpes and Mansfield. So he's missed a lot of pre-season. So he's played the last couple of games for the youth team. Will probably play again for them at the weekend. But I've just said to him today, strangely enough, with the asking about, he's looking like he's getting back to something like. And he's still a very young player. And my expectations of him are not that he's going to be in the team certainly every week, just because he had some involvement last year. But at the same time, we do believe that we've got a good player there. Just more circumstance, and he's not really match fit yet. So it's important we try and get him up to speed. And if that's using the chance to get game time with the youth team, then that's what we'll try and take.
Is he one you might consider sending out on loan just to build up that bit of game
Possibly. The young lads there, the most obvious ones, in truth. But again, we want to send them out, one when they're ready in terms of fitness, because Jazz also was struggling with a hamstring injury. It came into pre-season, then he had an ankle injury, so he's probably feels he's more or less there, but he's again another one that's took the opportunity, scored a couple of goals for the youth team, and Louis in general has been the one that's been fit, albeit he had to have 10 days away from the football club, separate to the club isolation. So it's been a bit disruptive for them all, but there's no rush in my mind with any of them. But as long as I see them working hard and working at the game, that's the most important thing.
You've got a new face in for the weekend, obviously Riley Towler. Is he coming to you thinking for Torquay? He's
certainly travelled with us, that's for sure, and be part of the squad. He's trained this morning. I think made a good first impression, and he's keen to get involved straight away. He's highly thought of down there, left-footed, which again as a centre back is quite difficult to come by. Strange, even I thought things might have progressed, have more two-footed players with all the hours they spend at the academy, but still probably unusual to get someone that's two-footed. And I'm not saying Riley is, but he's definitely left-footed, so that gives us a bit more balance. Can play left back, as I said, and started his sort of football as a midfielder really. Has worked his way back. Can see that he's comfortable on the ball, and like I said yesterday, I think a good addition to the squad. So I'll make a call whether we involve him straight away, but he's certainly ready for the challenge.
Is he a signing made perhaps with David Longking's injury in mind a bit?
Yeah, and I always wanted 4 centre backs anyway, to be honest. I think I've got Crooksy who could play that left side centre back in a 3. I 100% he would give it a go in a 2, but I wouldn't feel as comfortable if that's what we were forced to do. So I think we needed competition. I've said all along, competition is important. For me, that's the way I judge it. I know sometimes some players or some people feel that, you know, if you just show that confidence in certain players, eventually they come good. But you know, for me, if you want to achieve, you need strong competition, and that's what we're getting, you know, almost in all areas.
And while Bailey's here, it's a good chance for him to learn off the likes of Sean Pearson and Luke Waterfall.
Yeah, and vice versa. You know, just because they're the older ones and they've got experience, yes, I'm sure they can help. But at the same time, you know, he's playing probably the game in a slightly different way, and we have to be open-minded to that as well, and players should be. Look at positions maybe that he takes up to receive the ball, and ultimately we'll try and mould that to what suits us as a team. But it's, you know, I think just the experience of going out on loan, he's done it, you know, lower down, but I think it takes him away from home, so that's a new experience. He's, you know, how he settles with that, we don't know, no one knows. But what I do know is he was again keen to get out to play some football, and that's the first and foremost the attitude you're looking for from young players.
Obviously, Torquay on Saturday, a long old track for you, and
yep,
against one of the other fancy teams in this league. So, what are you kind of expecting from them?
Very tough game. I think whenever you play one of Gary Johnson's teams, you know what to expect. Has had great success over his long career, but you know, beaten playoff finalists. Maybe if there hadn't been interruptions in the season, they looked a good shout for the automatic spot. So we're unlucky. They've lost a few players over the summer, but I think, you know, like I say, you expect a tough game, and you know, no interest in looking at the table or anything at this stage. He'll be hoping that they can, you know, replicate kind of what they did last year. Probably not one of the absolute standout teams in terms of what people are expecting to be up there, but I think any team that, you know, like I said, went so close last year with a manager with that experience and know-how, you certainly can't write them off.